Art encompasses any expression created by humans. Art arranges materials to share meaning. Art arranges sounds to share feeling. Art arranges movements to share meaning. Art arranges ideas to share meaning. Art ranges from ancient cave paintings to modern digital installations. Art serves as a means to commemorate significant events and individuals throughout history. Art is used to impart historical knowledge and cultural values across generations. Art plays a role in celebrating community bonds and festive occasions. Art can challenge established power structures and address issues of fairness and justice. Art functions as a decorative element, enhancing the aesthetic appeal of spaces and objects. Art provides avenues for personal and social healing, fostering emotional well-being and community resilience. Art encompasses diverse forms, including physical objects like paintings and sculptures. Experiential art includes events such as live performances and interactive installations. Conceptual art challenges perspectives through ideas rather than physical form. Artists often blend physical, experiential, and conceptual forms to create complex works. The blending of art forms results in multifaceted artistic expressions. A line, a fundamental element of art, is defined as the path created by a moving point. Lines can vary in direction, including straight and curved forms. Thickness is another variable attribute of lines, ranging from thin to bold. Lines possess distinct characters, influencing their expressive qualities. The characteristics of a line can significantly impact the overall aesthetic of an artwork. Shape refers to flat, two-dimensional areas. Geometric shapes, such as circles and squares, are examples of shape. Organic, free-form shapes are also considered shapes. Shape is defined by its two-dimensional nature. Shape contrasts with three-dimensional form, which possesses depth. Shape is a fundamental element of visual design. Form describes three-dimensional shapes, such as cubes and spheres. Form is a key element in sculptures, defining their three-dimensional presence. Architectural designs utilize form to create volumetric figures and spatial experiences. Form encompasses a range of volumetric figures beyond basic shapes. Color is defined by hue, which is the name of the color itself. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of a color. Intensity describes the brightness or dullness of a color. Temperature categorizes colors as warm or cool. Texture refers to the tactile quality of a surface. Texture can also refer to the illusion of tactile quality on a surface. Textures are commonly described as smooth, rough, or fuzzy. Understanding texture is crucial in design for creating realistic and engaging visuals. Space in design involves the arrangement of objects and areas within a composition. Near and far elements contribute to the perception of space within a design. Positive and negative space are essential components in creating balanced and visually appealing designs. Depth can be created through techniques like overlap, size changes, and perspective. Value in art refers to the contrast between light and dark areas within a composition. This contrast creates the illusion of depth and form, giving objects a three-dimensional appearance. High contrast, with stark differences between light and dark, creates a dramatic effect. Low contrast, with subtle gradations, results in a softer, more muted visual. Value is a fundamental element in creating visual hierarchy and guiding the viewer's eye. Balance in design refers to the distribution of visual weight within a composition. Symmetrical balance is achieved through mirroring elements along a central axis. Asymmetrical balance is achieved through contrasting elements that create equilibrium without mirroring. Visual weight is influenced by factors such as size, color, and texture. Effective balance creates a sense of stability and harmony in a design. Imbalance can be used intentionally to create tension or draw attention to specific areas. Emphasis is the focal point in an artwork. The focal point is the area that first attracts the viewer's eye. Emphasis can be achieved through various techniques, such as contrast, color, and placement. Contrast involves using differences in value, texture, or size to draw attention. Color can be used to create emphasis by using bright or contrasting colors. Placement involves positioning elements to guide the viewer's eye to a specific area. Contrast involves the strategic use of opposing elements to create visual interest. Light and dark elements can be contrasted to enhance visual depth and highlight key features. Contrasting rough and smooth textures adds tactile dimension to visual designs. Juxtaposing large and small elements creates scale and emphasizes the relative importance of design components. Strategic use of contrast captures attention and guides the viewer's eye through a design. Rhythm in design is achieved through the repetition of visual elements. Repetition creates a visual tempo, guiding the viewer's eye across the design. Consistent repetition establishes a predictable and harmonious visual experience. Variations in repetition can introduce complexity and visual interest while maintaining rhythm. Rhythm can be applied to various design elements, including shape, color, texture, and spacing. Movement in art refers to the visual pathways that guide the viewer's eye through a composition. These pathways create a sense of flow and direction within the artwork. Movement can be achieved through various elements, such as lines, shapes, color, and value. The strategic use of these elements can lead the viewer to specific points of interest. Effective movement enhances the overall visual experience and communicates the artist's intent. Unity in art refers to the cohesive relationship between all elements, creating a sense of completeness. A unified artwork demonstrates harmony and visual balance, where each part contributes to the overall aesthetic. Achieving unity involves carefully considering elements such as color, shape, texture, and spatial arrangement. Without unity, an artwork can appear disjointed, chaotic, and lacking a clear visual message. Unity strengthens the visual impact of an artwork, guiding the viewer's eye and enhancing the overall experience. Through unity, individual components merge to form a singular, impactful, and aesthetically pleasing whole. Variety in art utilizes diverse elements to maintain viewer interest and engagement. Different colors can be used to create variety. Different shapes can be used to create variety. Different textures can be used to create variety. Variety ensures that the artwork remains visually stimulating and prevents monotony. Scale refers to the size of an object in relation to another object. Proportion refers to the relative size of parts of a whole. Scale and proportion affect the perceived harmony and visual balance of a design. Intentional distortion of scale and proportion can be used to create artistic effects. In art, the subject refers to the central theme or topic that the artwork represents. The subject can be a person, such as a portrait capturing their likeness and character. Alternatively, the subject may be a narrative or story depicted through visual elements and composition. An artwork's subject can also represent an abstract idea or concept, conveyed through symbolism and artistic interpretation. Understanding the subject is crucial for interpreting the artist's message and the artwork's overall meaning. Form in art refers to the physical and visual structure of a work. Materials used in the artwork are a key component of its form. Composition, or the arrangement of elements, contributes to the overall form. Artistic style is also an integral aspect of form, reflecting the artist's approach. Context encompasses the time period in which an artwork was created. Context includes the geographical place where the artwork originated. Context involves the cultural environment, influencing the artwork's creation. Context considers the original purpose or function of the artwork. An artwork's context significantly influences its interpretation and understanding. Without understanding context, the meaning and significance of an artwork may be missed or misinterpreted. Drawing is a fundamental art skill involving the use of various tools to create marks on a surface. Common drawing tools include pencils, charcoal, ink, markers, and chalks, each offering unique qualities. Drawing is often used to quickly explore and visualize ideas on paper. Paper serves as the primary surface for drawing, providing a tangible medium for artistic expression. The act of drawing allows for immediate feedback and iterative refinement of concepts. Drawing provides a foundation for various art forms, including painting, sculpture, and digital art. Contour drawing focuses on delineating the outline of a subject. The technique involves creating a single, uninterrupted line to define the edges. Contour drawing emphasizes the shape and form of the subject without shading or internal details. This method enhances the artist's perception and understanding of spatial relationships. Blind contour drawing is a variation where the artist does not look at the paper while drawing. Practicing contour drawing improves hand-eye coordination and observational skills. Gesture drawing emphasizes capturing the action or essence of a subject through quick, energetic lines. The primary goal of gesture drawing is not precise accuracy, but rather the feeling and movement of the subject. Gesture drawing serves as a foundation for more detailed and refined artwork. The technique involves rapidly sketching the subject, focusing on the overall form and movement rather than specific details. Gesture drawing is valuable for artists seeking to improve their understanding of anatomy and dynamic poses. The use of quick, energetic lines helps to convey a sense of life and vitality in the artwork. Hatching is a shading technique using closely spaced parallel lines to create tonal or shading effects. The density and proximity of parallel lines determine the perceived darkness or lightness of a hatched area. Cross-hatching involves layering multiple sets of parallel lines that intersect each other. Layering lines at different angles in cross-hatching allows for a broader range of tonal values and richer textures. Hatching and cross-hatching are fundamental techniques for creating value and form in black and white drawings. These techniques can simulate light, shadow, and texture, adding depth and realism to artwork. Stippling is a technique that uses dots to create shading. The density of dots determines the perceived value, with more dots creating darker areas. Varying the spacing and size of dots can further refine shading effects. Stippling allows for a high degree of control over tonal variations in artwork. Perspective drawing creates the illusion of depth on a flat surface. One-point perspective uses a single vanishing point to create depth. Two-point perspective utilizes two vanishing points to represent objects. Atmospheric perspective simulates depth through changes in color and clarity. These techniques combine to create realistic spatial relationships in art. Painting involves applying pigments to a surface. Various mediums are used in painting, including watercolor, gouache, acrylic, oil, and tempera. Different painting mediums offer unique visual characteristics and application techniques. The choice of medium significantly impacts the final appearance and durability of the artwork. Watercolor painting involves applying transparent layers of paint. Watercolor techniques require building up layers from light to dark. The transparent nature of watercolor allows underlying layers to influence the final color. Achieving desired effects in watercolor relies on the careful application of these transparent layers. Gouache is a type of opaque watercolor paint. The opacity of gouache allows for easy corrections and layering. Gouache opacity results from a higher pigment concentration and the addition of an inert white pigment. Corrections can be made in gouache by painting over mistakes with fresh layers. Gouache is suitable for creating flat, matte surfaces in illustrations and designs. The ability to rework areas makes gouache a versatile medium for artists. Acrylic paint is characterized by its rapid drying time. Acrylic paint's water-based nature facilitates easy cleanup. Acrylic paint exhibits versatility by adhering to a wide variety of surfaces. The quick drying, easy cleanup, and multi-surface application make acrylic paints a popular choice for artists. Oil paint's slow drying time facilitates blending and achieving rich color depth. The extended drying period of oil paints allows artists more time to rework and refine their artwork. Oil painting necessitates meticulous cleanup procedures due to the nature of its components. Solvents are essential for thinning oil paints and cleaning brushes, but require proper ventilation and safety precautions. The slow oxidation process of oil paint contributes to its durability and longevity on canvas. Careful layering techniques in oil painting enhance depth and luminosity, creating visually complex artworks. Tempera paint often utilizes an egg-based binder. The egg acts as an emulsifier, binding the pigment and water together. Tempera paint dries to a matte finish due to its composition. The matte finish of tempera paint lacks the sheen of oil-based paints. The absence of oil contributes to the matte appearance of tempera. Tempera's matte surface enhances color saturation without reflective distractions. Printmaking is a process of creating multiple original images from a single prepared form. Relief printing involves carving away areas of a matrix, with the remaining raised surface inked and printed. Intaglio printing uses incised lines or textures to hold ink, which is then transferred to paper under pressure. Planographic printing relies on chemical processes to create areas that accept or repel ink, allowing for printing from a flat surface. Stencil printing involves forcing ink through openings in a stencil onto the printing surface. Relief printing involves carving away material from a surface. The remaining raised surface on the block represents the image to be printed. Linocut is a type of relief printing where a design is cut into a sheet of linoleum. Woodcut is another form of relief printing, utilizing a block of wood as the printing matrix. Ink is applied to the raised surface of the carved block before printing. The inked block is pressed onto paper to transfer the image, creating a print. Intaglio printing is a method where the image is incised into a surface, and the incised lines or areas hold the ink. Etching is a specific intaglio technique that uses acid to create the incised lines or areas on a printing plate. Engraving is another intaglio technique where lines are cut directly into the plate using a tool called a burin. The incised areas, filled with ink, transfer the image to paper when pressed together. Intaglio printing results in a print with raised ink lines, creating a tactile quality. Planographic printing utilizes a flat surface for creating prints. In planographic printing, the image area is treated to repel ink. Lithography is an example of planographic printing. The flat printing surface allows for detailed and nuanced image creation. Planographic printing contrasts with relief and intaglio methods that use raised or recessed surfaces. The process of treating the image area is crucial for successful planographic printing. Stencil printing involves using a stencil to apply ink to a surface. Screen printing is a common type of stencil printing. The stencil blocks ink from passing through certain areas of the screen. This process creates a patterned image on the printed surface. Various materials can be used as stencils, including paper, plastic, and metal. Monotype is a printmaking technique that produces a single, unique print. The process involves applying ink or paint directly onto a smooth, non-absorbent surface. The inked image is then transferred to paper by pressing the paper against the inked surface. Because the image is transferred in a single pass, monotype prints are inherently unique. Sculpture involves creating three-dimensional forms. Additive methods in sculpture involve building up a form. Subtractive methods in sculpture involve carving away material. Sculptures can be created using a variety of materials. Sculptural forms occupy physical space and can be viewed from multiple angles. Sculpture can be representational or abstract. Additive sculpture involves building up a form. Materials used in additive sculpture include clay. Plaster is also used in additive sculpture. Found objects can be incorporated into additive sculpture. The additive process allows for gradual form development. Subtractive sculpture involves removing material from a solid block. Materials commonly used in subtractive sculpture include stone and wood. The subtractive process reveals the sculpture by eliminating extraneous material. Subtractive techniques contrast with additive sculpture, which builds up form. Armatures provide structural support for soft sculpting materials. Armatures prevent collapsing or deformation of the sculpture during the creation process. Common armature materials include wire, metal rods, and wood. Armatures are essential for creating sculptures with complex shapes and extended forms. Assemblage is a sculptural process using everyday objects to create new forms. The process involves combining disparate elements into a unified artistic composition. The resulting sculpture transforms the original function and meaning of the individual objects. Assemblage allows for creative exploration through the juxtaposition of familiar materials. Clay is a fundamental material used in the creation of ceramic objects. Ceramics encompass a range of objects, both functional and sculptural, crafted from clay and hardened by heat. Glass is another medium employed to produce both practical and artistic creations. Ceramics and glass offer versatile mediums for artistic expression and practical application. Hand-building techniques in ceramics include pinch, coil, and slab methods. The pinch method involves shaping clay by repeatedly compressing and rotating it between the fingers. The coil method uses rolled ropes of clay, stacked and joined to create forms. The slab method involves constructing forms from flat sheets of clay. Each hand-building technique offers unique possibilities for creating ceramic art. Wheel throwing is a technique used to form symmetrical ceramic pieces. The process involves centering clay on a rotating wheel and manipulating it into desired shapes. Symmetrical forms are achieved through consistent pressure and controlled movements. Wheel throwing allows for efficient production of uniform ceramic items. Firing transforms raw clay into hardened ceramic material. Glazes are applied to ceramic surfaces to add color and decorative effects. Glazes seal the porous surface of ceramic, making it waterproof and durable. The combination of firing and glazing creates functional and aesthetically pleasing ceramic objects. Glass can be shaped through various methods, including blowing, casting, slumping, or fusing. Glass blowing involves inflating molten glass into a bubble using a blowpipe. Casting involves pouring molten glass into a mold to create a specific shape. Slumping uses gravity and heat to shape glass over a form in a kiln. Fusing involves heating multiple layers of glass until they bond together. Each shaping method results in glass objects with unique properties and aesthetics. Textiles encompass a wide array of fiber arts including weaving, quilting, and embroidery. Knitting and crochet are textile techniques that create fabric through interlocking loops of yarn. Macrame involves knotting cords or strings together to create decorative patterns and textiles. Basketry utilizes various plant fibers to construct functional and decorative containers. Tie-dye is a surface design technique that involves resist dyeing to create patterns on fabric. Batik is a surface design technique that uses wax to create patterns on fabric during dyeing. Architecture integrates art, engineering, and ecology in the creation of built environments. Architectural design involves aesthetic considerations to enhance the visual appeal of structures. Engineering principles ensure the structural integrity and functionality of architectural designs. Ecological factors influence architectural designs to promote sustainability and environmental harmony. The built environment reflects the fusion of artistic vision, engineering expertise, and ecological awareness. Structure and architecture defines how a building maintains its stability and supports its own weight. Structural integrity relies on transferring loads effectively through the building's components. Different structural systems, such as frame structures and load-bearing walls, distribute weight in unique ways. The choice of materials significantly impacts a structure's ability to withstand various stresses and environmental factors. Understanding structural principles is essential for designing safe and sustainable buildings. In architecture, the building envelope is the physical separator between the interior and exterior environments of a building. The primary function of the building envelope is to control the flow of energy, air, and moisture. A well-designed building envelope enhances energy efficiency and occupant comfort. Key components of the building envelope include walls, roofs, windows, and doors. The building envelope protects the interior from external environmental conditions. In architecture, a program defines the intended purpose and functions of a building design. The program outlines the specific needs and requirements that the architectural design must address. A well-defined program ensures the building effectively serves its users and fulfills its intended purpose. The architectural program guides the design process, influencing spatial organization, material selection, and overall aesthetics. Comprehensive programming involves stakeholder input, site analysis, and regulatory compliance to create a functional and sustainable design. An architectural program serves as a roadmap for creating spaces that are both functional and aesthetically pleasing. In architecture, the site refers to the specific location where a building is situated. The site's characteristics significantly influence the design and construction of a building. Factors such as topography, climate, and surrounding infrastructure define the architectural site. Understanding the site is crucial for sustainable and contextually appropriate architectural design. Site analysis involves assessing environmental conditions, legal constraints, and existing infrastructure. The orientation of a building on its site affects energy consumption and natural lighting. Sustainability in architecture considers energy consumption. Sustainable architecture also takes into account material selection. Climate impact is a crucial factor in sustainable architectural design. Energy efficiency, material sustainability, and climate impact are interconnected aspects of sustainable design. Sustainable architectural design aims to minimize environmental footprint and maximize resource efficiency. Photography is the art and science of capturing light using a camera. Cameras record light onto film or a digital sensor to create images. Different camera settings control the amount and duration of light exposure. The captured light forms an image that can be viewed or printed. Aperture, also known as f-stop, controls the depth of field in photography. A wider aperture, smaller f-number, results in a shallower depth of field, blurring the background. A narrower aperture, larger f-number, results in a deeper depth of field, bringing both foreground and background into focus. The f-stop value is inversely proportional to the aperture's diameter. Depth of field is used creatively to isolate subjects or provide context within a photograph. Aperture affects both depth of field and the amount of light entering the camera. Shutter speed is a fundamental camera setting that controls the duration of time the camera's sensor is exposed to light. A faster shutter speed reduces the exposure time, which can freeze motion and prevent motion blur in photographs. Conversely, a slower shutter speed increases the exposure time, allowing for motion blur effects and capturing more light in low light conditions. Shutter speed is measured in seconds or fractions of a second, such as 1/1000ths fast or 1s slow. The appropriate shutter speed depends on the subject's motion and the desired effect, balancing sharpness and motion blur. Adjusting shutter speed is crucial for achieving creative control over the final image, influencing both exposure and motion portrayal. ISO controls the sensitivity of the camera's sensor to light. Increasing the ISO value makes the sensor more sensitive, allowing for brighter images in low light conditions. Higher ISO settings amplify the signal, but also increase the amount of noise in the image. Image noise appears as random variations in color and brightness, reducing image clarity and detail. Low ISO settings are preferred in well-lit environments to minimize noise and maximize image quality. Balancing ISO, aperture, and shutter speed is crucial for achieving optimal exposure and image quality. Composition in photography involves the arrangement of visual elements within a frame. The rule of thirds divides the frame into 9 equal parts, guiding placement of key subjects. Leading lines direct the viewer's eye through the image, creating depth and perspective. Framing uses elements within the scene to create a frame around the main subject, adding focus and context. Film creates moving images through a sequence of still frames. Animation generates moving images using drawn or computer-generated frames. Video captures moving images using electronic signals. Moving images are created through film, animation, and video. Live-action filmmaking begins with script writing, which forms the narrative foundation of the film. Storyboarding visually plans the film's scenes, outlining camera angles and shot compositions. Shooting involves capturing footage according to the script and storyboard, using cameras and other equipment. Editing assembles the raw footage into a coherent sequence, adding effects and sound to enhance the storytelling. Script writing, storyboarding, shooting, and editing are sequential stages in live-action filmmaking. Each stage of filmmaking contributes to the final product, requiring collaboration and technical expertise. Animation encompasses a variety of techniques to create the illusion of movement. Stop-motion animation involves physically manipulating objects in small increments between individually photographed frames. Hand-drawn animation relies on artists drawing each frame to create motion. 2D computer animation uses digital software to create and manipulate images in a two-dimensional space. 3D computer animation involves creating three-dimensional models and animating them within a virtual environment. Video art frequently utilizes looping playback to create a continuous visual experience. The spatial arrangement of video art installations often interacts with the surrounding environment. Interactive video art responds to viewer input, creating a dynamic and personalized experience. The integration of looping and spatial interaction enhances the immersive quality of video art. Graphic design involves organizing text and images to effectively communicate a message. The primary goal of graphic design is to convey information clearly and attractively. Effective graphic design balances aesthetic appeal with functional communication. Graphic design principles include visual hierarchy, balance, contrast, and unity. Graphic design is applied across various media, including print, web, and mobile platforms. Layout design incorporates hierarchy to guide the viewer's eye and emphasize key information. Grids provide a structural framework for organizing content and ensuring visual consistency. White space, also known as negative space, enhances readability and creates visual breathing room. Effective layout balances hierarchy, grids, and white space to create a visually appealing and functional design. These three elements work together to improve communication and user experience. Typography encompasses the selection and arrangement of typefaces. Font weight refers to the thickness of the typeface. Tracking adjusts the spacing between characters in a word or phrase. Leading defines the vertical space between lines of text. Effective typography enhances readability and visual appeal. Typography is a crucial element in visual communication and design. Logos and branding serve as symbolic representations of ideas or groups. Logos visually communicate a company's identity, values, and mission. Effective branding builds recognition and fosters customer loyalty. Branding encompasses not only logos but also visual elements like color palettes and typography. Consistent application of branding across all platforms reinforces brand recognition. Successful logos are memorable, simple, and relevant to the target audience. Fashion choices communicate individual identity and personal style. Jewelry serves as a form of self-expression, enhancing personal aesthetics. Body arts, such as tattoos and piercings, are visual statements of identity. Fashion, jewelry, and body arts collectively contribute to an individual's overall style. These forms of adornment allow individuals to express their unique characteristics and cultural affiliations. Pattern making is the process of converting two-dimensional fabric into three-dimensional forms. The process involves creating a template that guides the cutting and sewing of fabric to achieve a desired shape. Accurate pattern making ensures a garment fits the body correctly and achieves the intended design aesthetic. Pattern making requires precision in measurements and an understanding of fabric properties. Different pattern making techniques exist, including drafting, draping, and flat pattern methods. Digital pattern making software streamlines the process and allows for precise adjustments and modifications. Textile choice significantly influences the drape and overall aesthetic of a garment. Different fabrics impart distinct visual and tactile qualities to the same design. The weight, weave, and fiber content of a textile determine how it falls and conforms to the body. Fabric selection can dramatically alter the perceived formality and function of a design. Understanding textile properties is crucial for achieving the desired silhouette and expression in fashion design. Hair design integrates elements of line to shape and define the overall hairstyle. Rhythm in hair design involves creating patterns and movement through varying lengths and textures. Texture is a crucial aspect of hair design, adding depth and visual interest to the hairstyle. Cultural symbols are often incorporated into hair design, reflecting identity and heritage. Jewelry creation incorporates metalwork techniques to shape and construct various pieces. Beads are commonly used in jewelry making, providing diverse colors, textures, and design elements. Resins can be integrated into jewelry for decorative purposes, offering unique textures and finishes. Found materials, such as shells and stones, can be incorporated into jewelry design, adding natural and organic elements. The combination of metalwork, beads, resins, and found materials allows for diverse and creative jewelry designs. Installation art transforms an entire space into an immersive artwork. Viewers physically walk through and interact with the artwork. The environment becomes an integral part of the artistic experience. This spatial transformation creates a unique and engaging sensory experience.